it was horrible to the extent that Alyssa Thomas and her partner DeWanna Bonner, who plays on the Mercury with her, were getting racist threats, death threats to their children from people on social media. First of all, stop that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Raising the Game, a women's sports podcast covering primetime performers, the business behind the athletes and the leagues, and what the growth of women's sports means for the next generation of women's athletes.
We're back from a bit of a vacation
I feel
away.
Like I forgot how to do this.
Yeah, it feels like that was weeks ago that we recorded our kind of in-between episode there, but we hope you enjoyed a little bit diving back into kind of the history of some of our women's sports trailblazers.
Yeah, I think those, listening back to it a little bit today, for me, it was a fascinating discussion, to be honest. Yeah. And I think we hope to do a few more like that as we progress through. Yeah. However, there is a ton of sports news that we missed in the week that we were out with all the different leagues, the cup going on, Wimbledon going on, all kinds of things, and we'll probably just scratch the surface on some of those here
for sure.
tonight.
Yeah, do we want to jump right into favorite thing here?
Yeah, let's get into it. So I had a couple. My big one is NWSL is back. It does feel like there's been a lot of football on TV with the World Cup, but it was nice to see some games this weekend for the Women's League. Also, just really exciting player movement over the break with some international stars coming over, some leaving as well. And I'm just excited to get that back rolling because I think we had like really fun momentum going into the World Cup break, and now we come back and let's see what happens. Yeah,
and we'll kind of see here. I think there was a lot of excitement even from some of your relatives over our little vacation there around football in general, not necessarily women's football, but I think hopefully that translates into, some more additional eyes on the NWSL.
For sure. I've seen a whole bunch of just like posts on social media of people being like, hey, I'm getting into this because of the World Cup. Where should I go watch? And like resoundingly, it's always like there's always responses, or like I try to respond with our handle of like NWSL, WSL, like go watch women's football. Yeah. Like that's where it's at.
Absolutely. My favorite thing was not sports related. I had a lot of fun watching the girls just swim all day over our little trip. Our oldest just loved getting out of the water and jumping back in.
Yeah, she found her courage jumping off the dock.
And then our youngest would put on a life jacket, and she found out she could just float straight up. And then like basically looked like she was riding an invisible bike and just like kind of kept going, and she could slowly get places, and that seemed like a lot of fun for her. So,
but the confidence that built for her, I think, in the water. And then we have a video too of like, you want to speak about, kind of take it down like an athlete vein a little bit of like the positive self-talk, where she jumped off the dock with her life jacket on for the first time, not to an adult.
Yep.
And she's like,
all right, guys, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do this.
It was great. All right, let's hit these headlines.
All right. We have a few. We're going to just bop through. Alex and I will kind of go back and forth on some WNBA headlines. Most of our content today is going to be some WNBA topics, but these are just a few of the highlights from the last week. So you want to kick us off?
Yeah. New York Liberty take the Commissioner's Cup over Las Vegas.
Yes. Then Dom Malonga of the Seattle Storm became the youngest player in WNBA history with a 30-plus point game, with a 37-point career high last week.
Very nice. Paige Beckers becomes the fastest player to reach 1,000 points and 250 assists in W history.
Following that, Olivia Miles becomes the fastest player in league history to reach 300 points and 100-plus assists, one game faster than both Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark.
Competition here. Marina Mabrey ties a league record for points in a game, dropping 53 points on the Los Angeles Sparks.
Yo, when Marina wants to go off
Yeah,
from three, she goes off.
We saw this in Unrivaled, as we spoke about earlier this year.
It's insane. Dallas Wings unveil first look at their 70,000 plus square foot practice facility opening in April of 2027.
We may need to put out a like matrix graphic of all of the different training facilities.
I know. I was actually thinking about
right now.
Like we could do almost a whole episode talking about this like boom of new training facilities since we started doing this in January.
Nafisa Collier voted WNBPA first vice president by the player representatives. She'll serve a 3-year term.
Yeah, so she replaces Kelsey Plum, who was in that role previously. Nneka Agumake, for those keeping score, Madam President, was reelected to her presidential post. And wrapping us up, Teresa Witherspoon and Cynthia Cooper are named the All-Star GMs, and they will pick the team. So this is interesting. We're going to talk about All-Star teams today. Normally, the top 2 vote getters become captains, and then they pick the teams. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. This year, because of the 30th anniversary, they chose to do it a little bit differently.
All right. Moving on, NCAA D1 athletes will be automatically granted 5 years of eligibility with new age-based eligibility, which eliminates red shirts and waivers.
This is another one where I feel like we could open a total can of worms on this, but the intent on this is really to limit the number of athletes in college sports beyond 5 years and into their like mid-20s, right? There's a significant advantage from a physiological perspective if you're playing against like mid-20s aged men and women versus 18-year-olds, or whatever. So they're trying to eliminate that. And then it's interesting. So the eligibility clock starts, make sure I get this right, when the athlete enrolls in college or the academic year following their 19th birthday. So like you could take a gap year, right? But it starts automatically. The latest you could delay it is the academic year after you turn 19. So now you will not see any Division I players over the age of 24.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So I think it's a good move. I think it is interesting. Like it also is like there's no red shirts or waivers anymore. You're just done once that window closes.
Yep. I think the thing you said at the beginning there is really interesting. Like I remember in football in high school going up against an 18-year-old as a 15-year-old was insane.
Terrifying.
Imagine being a 26-year-old going up against an 18 or 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, exactly.
Michelle Kang officially becomes the sole majority shareholder of OL Leone.
Just Leone. Just say Leone.
Okay. Adding to her ownership portfolio with London City Lionesses and Washington Spirit.
Yeah, so this is interesting though because the UEFA Champions League, I think it was, also has a rule that if you own 2 teams, they cannot compete in the same tournament.
Interesting.
There's something along those lines. We'll have to go look that up, but I feel like this becomes, I'm like, how do you navigate this? Like if London City ever needed to play Lyon in the UFCL, right?
Yep.
UEFA Champions League, excuse me.
Marie-Philippe Poulin will undergo surgery on her right knee from ACL and meniscus tear sustained during the 2026 Winter Olympics and the PWHL Championship run. Yeah,
I'm gonna save my thoughts on this. I think we'll probably talk about it as we hear more about how her surgery goes and her recovery. But best wishes to MPP. We hope for a solid recovery for her.
Alexia Putellas makes it official. Will join London City despite late stage talks to come to the NWSL.
London City signed a ton of high level talent, and they are a promoted team to the WSL. Like we just talked about Michelle Kang putting a lot of money into that club. It's going to be interesting to watch them because they way overperformed for where they were at in that league this past season. And now they're just adding superstars.
Serena loses in her return to singles competition. Maya Joint tweaks her knee. forces withdrawal from doubles competition with Sister Venus.
Yeah, this was going to be my other favorite thing, was just watching Serena play tennis again. I got to sit with my future sister-in-law, who loves tennis, plays tennis, and kind of watch that match. And there were moments where you were like, "Oh, it's there.
It's there."
But you could definitely tell that she's got some rust to shake off. That she is, more mature, as we like to say.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think she's done. And my bold prediction for Serena is we are going to see her in singles at the U.S. Open in September.
Clock it.
Naomi
Osaka defeats Ariana Sabalenka in straight sets, advances to quarterfinals.
Yeah, this was a little bit shocking. I think she beat Sabalenka 6-2 in the opening set, and then it went 7-6 to a tiebreak in the second set. But this is Sabalenka's second straight early exit from a major tournament. She lost to Schneider at Roland Garros, the French Open. And then the other interesting note here, Coco Gauff advances to the quarterfinals as well. For the first time at Wimbledon, she had to win her match ahead of curfew. Otherwise, it gets paused, and I think you pick it up the next day, which can totally swing momentum. Yeah. She got the winning point 2 minutes before the 11 p.m. curfew.
Amazing.
She had this quote that she's like, I am so glad that I did not play a timed sport. Normally, I can't. I don't like that pressure.
Yeah. Gotham FC win Challenge Cup as NWSL returns to action.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other games that happened. This was sort of the kickoff back into NWSL. Against the KC Current. They have another big event on the calendar actually coming up this weekend. The Queens Classic against Washington Spirit, played at Citi Field in New York City, in Queens.
Yeah.
They've already sold 30,000 tickets, which will set a record for a women's sports event in NYC.
Wow. Lord help me on this one. At the Prefontaine Classic, U.S. Olympian Nikki Hiltz beats Faith Kipyegon from Kenya in the 1500 meter with a time of 4:17:49.
So first of all, let's all just process that they were running a mile in 4 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah, just shy of a mile there.
That's like my quarter mile time.
Yeah, exactly.
This was just cool. They do this kind of around the 4th of July time period. They do some of these races. It was fun to see. I think Hiltz beating, I think I read Faith Kipyegon hasn't lost this race in 5 years. This Prefontaine 1500 meter. So big win for Nikki Hiltz. 2 more for me. I'm just going to throw in here that I added last minute. So the Edmonton Oilers of the NHL invited Abby Murphy, this past season's draft, second round pick for the 2026
Second overall pick.
Second overall. Yes. To be clear. Second overall pick in the 2026 PWHL draft. And then Chloe Primorano and Caitlin Kramer to their development camp. So we just talked about Ann Myers last week and the Pacers. This is obviously a different scenario, but I saw some footage and they were holding their own.
They were doing it.
They were scoring goals, pushing people around. So just as a side note, Kramer and Primorano are slated to be high draft picks in the 2028. So they're still in college right now.
All right.
And then my last one here, this is pretty big, also kind of a, landscape changing, if you will, but Olympic athletes will be starting with this last Milano Cortina Olympics from February. All Olympic athletes will be entitled to a 10K grant from the IOC. So no longer are these athletes completely uncompensated for their competing. They must pass a drug test.
Makes sense.
6 months post competition. And this goes to all athletes, not just medal winners. but they don't get that payout unless they
Yeah.
are clear.
Stay clean.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right. Jump into our WNBA section. It's actually, you guys, I want to show you something. Usually our call sheets are like a whole page. This is really short, but don't let it deceive you. We have a lot here that we are going to talk about.
What Alex isn't showing our online video watchers is the 2 extra sheets of just like tables of stats that we have today and all of my highlightering that's happening here. So we're going to start talking through the All-Star. Excuse me.
Yeah. We're leaving it.
Oh, okay. The All-Star starters.
Yep.
So the vote, we'll talk a little bit about the voting process and the scoring process and how that works. And then we're going to talk about
stats.
We're going to talk about stats, and we're going to talk about our opinions.
Yeah.
On some of the votes.
Yeah.
And some of the ways that went. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go from there. So do you want to walk us through a little bit of like how the voting works?
Yeah. So basically you have a couple of rounds of voting, but you have the fan vote, the media vote, and the player vote. And the fan vote is weighted at 50%.
Yes.
We're rolling our eyes here right now. And then media and player is split at 25%. So we get 4 starting guards. Mm-hmm. And 6 starting front court players.
Yep.
And so, yeah, everyone, I mean, fans obviously vote. They get like 2 votes a day. Sometimes it's doubled.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways that you can really bolster your voting.
Yeah. And I think then the players each get, 4 for the guards, 6 for the front court
same with
to kind
media.
of spend, and same with the media. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go over who got it here, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's talk through each of these in turn. So I'm gonna go through the starters.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of round that out with the remaining players. And
before we jump into that quick, the reserve players will be announced the day after we record this. The day before you hear this. So we don't quite know who those are, and they are selected by coaches. They get 1 ballot. They get to select, 3 guards, 5 front court, and 4 of any position.
Okay. All right. So from the guards' perspective here, the starting guards in the WNBA 2026 All-Star Game will be Paige Beckers, Olivia Miles, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah.
So you've got a rookie in Olivia Miles. She's the only rookie to be starting. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Paige Beckers.
Yep.
The year before that's Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. And then old dog, Kelsey Mitchell. Rounding out our guards, we have Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream, Kelsey Plum of the Los Angeles Sparks, Sonia Citron of the Washington Mystics, Marina Mabry of the Toronto Tempo, AZ Fudd of the Dallas Wings, and Jackie Young of the Las Vegas Aces.
And this is all in order of their weighted score.
Yes, I just read that straight in order. We'll talk a little bit about as we get into our thoughts on this.
Yes.
What their weighted scores are and maybe some of the differences there. From a front court perspective, Alex mentioned this already, but you get more players for front court.
You get
typically
6 of these. So these first 6.
So yes, you would start 2 guards and 3 front court players. The number 1 scored front court player is Asia Wilson. No surprise to anybody. Brianna Stewart follows her. Jessica Shepard of the Dallas Wings. Aaliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever, Gabby Williams of the Golden State Valkyries, and Natasha Howard of the Minnesota Lynx. So just since we're keeping score, the 2023 Rookie of the Year is in this group.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of rookies going on, and I'm just manifesting that Liv is going to get 2026 Rookie of the Year. Although the AZ fans will come at me.
Yeah, they will.
And then after Howard, so once we move into the remaining players, we have Angel Reese of the Atlanta Dream, Nneka Ogwumike of the Los Angeles Sparks, Kiki Irifan of the Washington Mystics and Dominique Malonga
Yes.
of the Seattle Storm.
Yes.
So these are the players, as Alex mentioned, that were voted on both most by the fans
Yep.
and then the players and the media, right? So they kind
Yeah.
of take all of those votes, they create a weighted score
Yep.
based on the 50, 25, 25 that you just
Yep.
described, and they say, okay, these are the top, 22 players or something total,
Yeah.
I think. And they just, that's how they suss it out. Okay.
What do we want to talk about here? There's a lot of different elephants that are in this room.
There's a ton of elephants in this room. Okay, I'll start with this. If you look at this sheet and you look at I think what was really published and shared around about this was just a view of the fan rank, the media rank, and the player rank, and the weighted score. And so like that was getting passed around. What I noticed when I was looking through this is that if you look at the front court players, it is relatively in line.
Yeah.
Like nobody's really, aside from Aaliyah Boston, who got the #1 fan rank, and then she's eighth from a player rank.
Yeah.
Everybody else is within like 1 or 2 points across all 3 of those rankings. Yep. So generally speaking, it felt like from a front court perspective, you could draw a little bit of a conclusion that the fans, the media, and the players all kind of agree on these picks.
Yeah.
And then to expand that further, I wanted to look at like, what are their stats? Like what's their production like, on the court? And actually, if you look at that from a front court perspective, it sort of supports that narrative. For the most part. I mean, you guys, A'ja Wilson, I know that we keep talking about how she is playing MVP caliber basketball. And I also know that I think on this podcast, I said, I don't know if we should just have the same MVP again, but
kind of supports
it. She is in the top 5 of these players, of these all-stars.
Yeah.
In every single statistical category that we looked at. She is most often the top 1 or 2 in these categories. And we're talking about points per game, all the different shooting percentages, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, turnovers, and efficiency rating. She good.
Yeah, absolutely.
She real good.
I think when I look at the stat sheet, what I think about is the big elephant in the room here, and that's Angel Reese sitting just outside the top 6.
Averaging a double-double. She's only the one of 2 players averaging a double-double in the league right now.
And Atlanta had 0 starters.
Named. Yes. I think let's talk about the teams. Let's talk about the teams that are involved here. So if we go back and we just refresh on like just saying the starting teams together.
Yep.
We have A'ja Wilson, Las Vegas Aces, Brianna Stewart, New York Liberty, Jessica Shepard, Dallas Wings, Aaliyah Boston, Indiana Fever, Gabby Williams, Golden State Valkyrie, Natasha Howard, Minnesota Lynx. No duplication there, right? And I think we could also all agree that the Aces, the Liberty, the Wings, the Valkyrie, and the Lynx are the top 5 teams. Have been in the top 5 for most of the season. The only one that hasn't is the Indiana Fever. They are in 6th right now, and that is about the highest they've been since there was meaningful number of games on the board.
Yep.
We go to the guards. We have Paige Beckers, Dallas Wings, Olivia Miles, Minnesota Lynx. So now we've got 2 Wings players, 2 Lynx players in the starters. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, who both play for the Indiana Fever.
So we've got 3 Fever.
So one of the very noticeable things when this was first released that didn't take any digging was that the Fever, of the 10 starting players, Fever have 3. And they have not been ranked until recently higher than 7th in the league overall.
Yeah.
Now I get this is an all-star game. You could argue it's not about the performance of the team, but I feel like that should be a part of it.
Yeah, it really should.
And it is interesting. The timing of this is really interesting because if you had asked me, and maybe other fans 2 weeks ago, I would have said Atlanta absolutely should have had, and I still think they should have representation in the starters and all-stars. They have been on a very aggressive slide.
There has been a big slide the last 5 games or so.
Couple games. But the fact that you have a team that has more or less consistently been in the top 5 and has no player representation. The other thing that's crazy to me is how the Aces only have Asia one, Wilson in the starting 10 of the All-Star game. So, but if you go look at that a little bit more closely, you will see that the fan ranking is playing a huge role.
Yeah, it really is.
Alex mentioned that that's weighted higher than the media or the player ranks. And if you look at the scores here, Kelsey Mitchell, she's ranked 3rd in fan ranking from a guard's perspective. She was ranked 7th by both the media and the players.
Yep.
So that's fine. Obviously, the fan ranking is a little out of skew from the other two.
It's a little bit of a popularity contest.
But Kaylin Clark is ranked 2nd by the fans behind Paige Beckers, 3rd by the media behind Olivia Miles and Paige Beckers, and 11th by the players. And so some of this is like systematically, like I don't know. I am a huge fan of the W. I don't know that the fan vote for this should be weighted as highly as it is.
I would agree with that. I think the big thing too is that we've talked, and I think it's mostly been, probably right around the time Caitlin Clark came into the league is when we started to see what we've been talking about as this new sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of things that are happening in the fan vote that reflect more of like this is a big name, therefore we're going to glom onto them and like we're going to vote for them, and it's going to get kind of moved. These players are going to get moved up when the players might say that they don't necessarily deserve to be that high.
Right.
I mean, if we want to dig into it further, we can go down the list here and look at AZ Fudd, who had a 4 fan rank, 15 media rank, and 28 player rank. Like, I'm sorry, AZ Fudd fans. She is a great player. But I think that the fan rank of 4 is a little bit outrageous here.
Yeah, I mean, if you just understand like statistics a little bit, like you can understand that something there is an outlier, right?
Yeah.
And I could totally see the argument that the 28 might be an outlier, right?
Yeah.
I think some of what's challenging about AZ Fudd's perception to other players is that she frankly wasn't playing a lot at the beginning of the season. She has just now, in the last 10 games or so, started to play more for the Wings. But clearly there's something, like there's a gap there, right?
Yeah.
And then so maybe that media rank is kind of in the middle, like lines up more, but that's still 15th. That's the lowest by 5 next to Sonia Citron, who arguably is the best player on her team.
Yeah.
And I don't think AZ Fudd is the best player on the Wings.
I think if you, sorry, go ahead.
I think
if
cut me off.
I mean, I think if you bring it back to like an even split, maybe, or maybe somewhere near an even split for weighting, I think these kind of suss out a little bit better, potentially. I really don't agree with the 50% fan rank weighting on this.
Well, and I think too, like you look at a player, like flipping it around on its head, right? You look at a player like a Ryan Howard or a Sonia Citron, right? And Ryan Howard, 2nd in player rank. So she has a ton of respect from her peers. She was 4th in media rank, but she's 9th in fan. And so, and then you look at Sonia Citron, she's 4th in player rank and then 10 and 10 in media and fan rank. But like, it does make you think like, and I saw somebody commenting on this and saying like the players shouldn't get a vote, then it's just a popularity contest. And I'm like, what do you think the fan vote is?
Yeah, the fan vote is too. And like, if the media is local media, it's still also going to be a
popularity
contest.
Like this is the whole thing is a popularity contest. And so if anything, maybe we should be talking about like even split weighting or something. Obviously, you want fans to show up to the game.
Yeah.
So like the goal is to get players that are going to be at the All-Star game that are going to draw fans there. And so sure, that's fine. But it is really telling. And then if we expand this a little bit further into statistical categories, you start to see, again, really clearly, we talked about it on the front court side, like Asia Wilson, clearly dominant. Brianna Stewart, clearly dominant. Aaliyah Boston, clearly dominant. Paige Beckers on the guards, clearly dominant. She leads in 7 of the 10 statistical categories that we looked at. Olivia Miles, clearly dominant, 7 of the 10 categories. And then it starts to kind of like filter down, right? So you've got Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, both with about 5, like being in the top 5 of those. But somebody who I feel there's 2 snubs that I feel are on here. Now, granted, these are all All-Stars. They're all being named to the team. But like, so Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum got really dragged down by her player vote. Yeah. And I want to know what that's about.
Yeah.
But she is leading in scoring, high field goal percentage, high 3-point shooting percentage. She is 3rd in these guards in assists and has the highest efficiency rating of all of these players. Yeah. She has played the least amount of games and still continues to lead the league in, not lead the league in scoring, because Asia Wilson has that crown right now, but like stay in the top 5. Yeah. Right. Now her team isn't doing well. But then if we applied that logic to the Fever, do we see them here too? Exactly. Right. The other player who I think was really snubbed on this list is Jackie Young. And I didn't realize what her stat line looked like. Yeah. But it is very strong. And she is on arguably one of the top 2 teams in the league. Yeah. Right. And also plays really, like, she tends to be their lockdown defender when they need a lockdown defender on whether it's a front court player or a guard, because she's got the length to do that. But I just feel like there's maybe some, like, I think there's something to be said of like no one fan or media or player is watching all of these games. Yeah. Right. We know how we try to watch as much as we can, and that's impossible. Right. So maybe there's some inconsistency and whatnot, but I loved this exercise from the perspective of like, wow, it's really telling, like, like you said, like who gets the kind of brand recognition and where is there like discrepancy between these different factions, and then how do their statistical performances line up? And I understand statistics are a part of how we measure, right? There's other things that people contribute on the court, but it was fun to look at.
Yeah, it was. Anything else you want to drain out of these stats? You don't have to.
Oh, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking.
I think my takeaway here is that for all those stats that we just listed off and everything, is going to be an interesting comment section for whatever we clip without all of the nuance of what we just said.
We really need to put a disclaimer out there that's like, we put out a 75 to 90 minute podcast every week that you should go listen to before commenting on our clips, on our reels.
All right. Let's bring it over to another non-controversial topic.
Speaking of comments.
Officiating.
All right. So unless you have been living under a rock for the last 10 days, because this has been everywhere. It's been in the New York Times. It's been Wall Street Journal. This everywhere. Came up everywhere. There was an incident in a game almost 2 weeks ago between the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana Fever, where there was a loose ball situation, and Alyssa Thomas of the Phoenix Mercury appears to be going for the ball. She lands with her fist, like what looks like a closed fist, on Caitlin Clark's neck, who was on the ground because of the loose ball. She had fallen over and whatever. That got still framed. And then got blasted out into the universe. And it kind of looks like Alyssa Thomas is punching her in the throat.
Yeah, it does.
She is not, if you actually watch the video. But what this has generated is a ton of really toxic discourse.
Remember how we talked about threads earlier this year? Multiple times being toxic?
Yes.
It was bad.
It was horrible to the extent that Alyssa Thomas and her partner, DeWanna Bonner, who plays on the Mercury with her, were getting racist threats, death threats to their children from people on social media. First of all, stop that.
Yeah, don't do that.
This is a game. It's a sport. It is not that serious.
Yeah.
Their lives matter, and none of that should be happening ever to anyone, ever. Doesn't matter. So we have talked a lot about this because it was like Flashpoint. We were not going to be recording live. We were like, okay, how do we want to approach this? What are our thoughts on it? And what I think is really interesting is that before we kind of took our break, I mentioned that what I'm going to be watching for in the next like 12 to 15 games, the W leading up to the All-Star game, is the officiating. I asked the question, have we figured this out yet? Are we settled in, or are we still confused about this like updated approach to officiating?
And sorry.
I was going to say, and I think this is like an exclamation point on like, this is not working.
And I think the interesting thing about that specific play right there was that it was not called a foul on the floor. It was gone back, reviewed, and called a flagrant-2 after the game.
The next day.
The next day.
And then Alyssa Thomas was given a 1-game suspension for that. There is a lot to be said, I think, about that incident in particular, but there have been multiple. So I think, one, it happened to Caitlin Clark. Right? To your point just there, no one reacted to it when it happened in the game. So the Fever bench was right there. They didn't react. Stephanie White is right there. She didn't react. Caitlin Clark is underneath Alyssa Thomas, and she did not react to this.
She gives like a little bit of like a what happened, and then
because somebody was on top of her probably. But like normally she would have no problem going and yelling. And I don't blame her for that. I would yell about that too if it was like harmful. Right. So the fact that she didn't react seems like it was the way I see it is they're going for a loose ball. The fist, Alyssa Thomas has 2 torn labrums. Any physio person would tell you that having your hand open to balance on something is actually very hard on your shoulder. And so she probably has been trained to use just her fist, or if she has wrist problems even, right? It looks like her hand slips off of Clark's shoulder as Clark is raising her hand, and it slides down onto her neck. I don't want to like, I'm not here to like
arbitrate this or anything.
Relitigate the situation, like what actually happened, right? What I think is interesting is that I think, to your point, there was no call on the floor, and that is the problem. Is that there was no call. Somebody still framed the fist on the neck. It went viral, and then the W felt like they needed to respond. That's how it looks from our seats.
So I was just going to say, I think there's even a second layer on the officiating after the fact, and you kind of started talking about this, is that it was Caitlin Clark who it happened to. It was Alyssa Thomas, who has a bit of a reputation when it comes to these things. I watched it again multiple times tonight. I could see people who say that it was intentional. I could see people who say that it wasn't. Depending on how you view it, it does look sometimes unintentional. Sometimes I don't even know how that works when it's the same, like video footage. But I get that multiple people could see it different ways. But again, going back to the racial slurs, the death threats, don't do that. But then B, like you're getting back to, is the officiating overall just needs to really improve here to be able to catch this type of stuff on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's three things. So one is, I said this before, but we are playing a game. It is physical. It is going to have moments that look worse than they are. It's going to have moments that look just as bad as you think they look.
Yeah.
That is sports. That is part of sports. I believe that the W in particular in the last couple of years has an issue with fans sort of infantilizing some of these players and feeling like they need to protect them from elements of the game.
Yeah.
The number of calls for protecting Caitlin Clark that I have heard or seen or read well prior to this is alarming in my view. I think that's one, right? So one being like, we're playing a game.
Yeah.
It's going to be physical.
Yep.
These ladies know the game.
Yeah.
Like they know that that's part of it.
Yep.
Right. Two, if the officials call that on the floor, none of this happens.
Yeah.
Right. Now, could they not see it? Did they not think it was a foul?
Yeah.
But then you can't that's such a slippery slope, right? When it goes into the court of public opinion and then you look like you are responding, now those people feel emboldened to do it again. Like if we make enough of a ruckus, we're going to get our way, right? Our toddler does this. Well, I guess she's like almost 4, but our youngest does this all the time, right? If I cry enough, like they'll eventually cave. Okay. And then 3, it is the way that this has gone from we're playing a game to like, now I'm going to make this a culture war element because we're now adding in political division as a result of this in the discourse. The whole like Sophie Cunningham pointing thing as a meme now, which is actually incredibly disrespectful, is not funny. And we're celebrating online mostly with people who appear to be fans that are newer to the W, and frankly, who appear to be mostly fans of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. And maybe that is just a bias because it happened to her, right? But we don't see this same level of uproar when egregious stuff happens to other players. Right? So Satu Sabali got hit in the head by Alyssa Smith a couple, I don't know, now like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. She has a history of concussions. It was not intentional. It was a basketball play, but she hit her in the head. That is head contact. That's a foul. She's now out. She is unable to play. Where is the outrage? Right? And so like we get a lot of pushback from Caitlin Clark fans online of like us having a double standard. And I just want to say, like, I think that you also have a double standard.
Yeah, there definitely is.
In how that this is applied. So, like I said, I think, right, it's the 3 things. We're playing a game. The officiating needs to be better. And also, this does not need to turn into a rage baiting, like culture war element. Kind of ties into the first one of like, we're playing a game. But at the end of the day, I think players are really confused right now by the officiating. And I think that it feels like every night we leave a slate of games and the story isn't about the play on the court. It's about something that happened with the officials or between the 2 teams that had nothing to do with basketball. and I want to talk about basketball.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is, and I haven't seen any news on this if it's something that's scheduled or not, but I'm be interested to see if the task force that we talked about at the beginning of the year for officiating is going to convene at the All-Star break to say what is happening here, because they talked a big game. We have this task force. We're going to fix officiating. We're going to protect offensive players, which I think they mostly are there, but it's still not consistent. It's so many games we watched last week last year felt like they were ruined by the refs, and we're still not seeing it get any better.
Yeah. And protect all players.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we want to avoid we talk a lot about like durability and how we want these players to be able to play for a long time. Well, like, this is the kind of stuff that can limit that, right? So whether you're Satu Sabali or you're Kaylin Clark, like, or anybody else in the league, we need to be thinking about player safety, right? And that also goes for not threatening people online with really horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Just put a point on that again. All right. So that's a little bit on our take on that. To your point, I do hope that something is done, like a checkpoint with the refereeing. I read an article today from the New York Times that was saying like whoever leads that has kind of come back and said like, well, you get what you pay for. And so it kind of makes it seem like maybe the league isn't investing in the tools and the things that are needed to really make sure that we have the best refs. So that would be nice if we could make an investment there.
Yeah, yeah.
And by we, I mean the league, not me.
Yeah.
Not me
hopefully
personally.
I'm not making an investment.
All right.
All right. Should we move it on? I think we want to talk quick here about the standings and kind of where things lie. I'm going to give the top 7, because I think that's where this really makes the most sense. And you'll see why in a minute. Number 1, we have Minnesota 15-5. Las Vegas Aces 15-6. Yeah, we'll see after this. They were playing while we were recording, and it wasn't the greatest game. No. Golden State number 3 at 14-7. Dallas Wings 13-8. New York Liberty 13-8. Indiana Fever 12-8, and the Atlanta Dream 12-9. The 2 I have circled here are Golden State at number 3 with a 4-win streak. And the Atlanta Dream at number 7
circled the same one.
With the 5-loss streak. What is happening here? I mean, Golden State makes sense. We talked about this after we went to that game. They are ballers.
I have known from the start that Golden State is a problem. I think hats off to Natalie Nakase. We've talked about her a bunch, but I think she coaches that team so well. They don't have any particular like superstars. Gabby Williams is an all-star starter, but like, you know, and then you've have like a really strong cast or like not around her. I feel like she's not like consistently kind of putting up the numbers that I think we expect to see from like your single star on your team or what have you. Not to say that she's not good. She's very good. But I think Natalie Nakase does such a good job of, we talked about with them, like they defend so well as a team. And then they are still the top, they score the majority of their points from 3. It's over 40% of their points come from the 3-point arc. And they have really good 3-point shooters. Yeah. So as long as that 3 is dropping for them, you can't, like, that's very hard to beat.
Yeah. I have not been able to watch enough Atlanta games. What is going on in Atlanta?
So, man, it was probably 4 or 5 episodes ago. I said, it might have been longer than that. I said they just needed to get out of their own way. Yeah. They have all of the pieces that they should need, right? You've got Ryan Howard and Jordan Canada, literally both at the top of the league in steals per game. Yep. You've got Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, who are, high from a points production perspective. You got Angel Reese averaging a double-double. Like, they should be better than what they're showing.
Yeah.
They were doing quite well, but like this most recent slide, I feel seems like it was sort of brewing before, and they were able to pull it out, and now they just haven't been able to. And so I don't know what adjustments Coach Smesko needs to make, right? Is it changing up your starters? Is it changing up your scheme? Is it what is it, right? But there's some obvious frustration. I think I saw a clip of like towards the end of one of their losses recently, like Ryan Howard looking clearly upset walking off the court, right? And so they should be better, but right now they seem like they're struggling to close out games or have consistency. I thought it was interesting in this, right? You've got obviously very strong Western Conference. The top 4 teams, 5 sometimes are from the West, and then the next, what is that? Like 6 teams are Eastern Conference. I had circled the Washington Spirit because I also said this Washington. Gosh darn it! I'm just getting really excited for NWSL segment. The Washington Mystics. So sorry. I had circled the Washington Mystics because I had said this way towards the beginning of the WNBA season, but like they have so much talent on that team, but they're so young. They're the youngest team by far in the W, and that if they could figure out how to play together and how to like manage those critical moments where usually you rely on like veteran experience, they could be really dangerous. And I think they're proving that they can be really dangerous, right? I don't think they're fully there yet, right? Like, I don't think that they're going to surge up the rankings from where they're at. I don't think they can consistently beat a New York, a Dallas, a Minnesota, right? But I think they can peel them off here and there, and they can kind of play that like disruptor role,
like we said,
or that challenger role, that we talked about. So I'll be watching them. I feel like too, the Sparks, we thought they might go on a little bit of a surge, and they have not.
They've actually gone down since the last time we talked about
this. They
have
gone down. But watch out for Phoenix. They're on a little bit of a win streak. We play them next Monday.
All right.
I think so.
All right. Let's
watch out for that.
We got a good clip on this WNBA talk. We got to get into some NWSL.
Let's do it.
It is back. We had, while we were out, the Challenge Cup.
Yes.
Talk about the Challenge Cup.
Well, I don't have much on it because I didn't watch it. I'm just going to confess right off the bat.
Yeah.
I know Gotham won. We were on vacation, so we didn't have an opportunity to watch. To me, it feels like not a huge surprise. I think we've seen Kansas City Current kind of struggle at points so far in the season.
Yeah.
They just traded Ali Sentnor to Angel City FC. You're coming off of a break, like maybe a little bit rusty, whereas like Gotham felt like they were like kind of like priming the pump to rev up to this game. They have the Queen's Classic coming up this weekend. So like they know they're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I think they were ready to be in that spotlight. Doesn't hurt that they also just signed Sam Kerr.
Yeah.
She did not play in this game, but she is getting ready to take the pitch for them. It would be cool if her first game is that Queen's Classic.
Yeah, it would be cool.
So not much else to say on that, except for I feel like it was predictable that Gotham would win that game.
For sure.
There are a couple of rule updates. So if you've been watching the Men's World Cup, you know that there were some rule changes that were implemented as that tournament began. Some of those are also being adopted in the NWSL. But a couple to call out. So that the NWSL just recently published as they return to play. So there's an off-field treatment rule, which basically means that if you go down on the pitch, once you are removed from the pitch, you have to remain off the pitch for at least a minute.
Yeah.
And so what they are trying to eliminate, right, is obviously people just going down for no reason. If you've been watching the Men's World Cup and you watch women's football, you know that men do this much more frequently than women do. So I don't really see this being a huge impact. I think where it could be big is to avoid some of the gamesmanship that happens at the end of games for teams that are winning and they're trying to use up clock. Yeah. Another one here, the timed sub rule. We have mentioned this before. This is also in play at the World Cup, but you basically now have 10 seconds to get off the pitch.
Oh, it's crazy.
And if you are not off the pitch in 10 seconds, that player coming on cannot go on for a full minute.
Yeah.
So you play down a person for a full minute. Some of the other timed ones you probably have seen also in the World Cup, like throw-ins have to be in within 5 seconds. You'll see referees doing like big... Yeah. Right. If you take too long on corner kicks, that becomes a turnover. It's a goal kick. If you take too long on goal kicks, that becomes a corner kick. Yeah. Overall, I think that they've played out pretty nicely so far in the Men's World Cup. We'll see what it looks like in the NWSL.
Yeah, I think I'm sure we talked about this earlier this year, but I think it was really interesting. I think we were like on a walk somewhere, and I told you I'd seen a video of some EPL ref talking about, or international ref talking about, these are my ideas for rules to like speed up the game, and like
it must have been an old video.
It was probably a few years ago. Yeah, it came back up, but I was just like, this guy, he got through to him or something, and it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, time wasting had become a huge problem in football. Like just not. So continuing here, there's an update to the heat policy. So let me be clear.
Four quarter games.
Stop. We are not moving to mandatory hydration breaks in the NWSL. However, when they are necessary, when they meet the criteria of needing a hydration break, there is now a standard 2.5 to 3 minute break for the teams to take. What it was before was that based on the bulb temperature or whatever that thing is, there were 2 tiers. So they would basically say if it's at this level, it's 2.5 minutes. If it's at this level, it's 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And now they're just like, no, you just do 2.5 to 3 minutes. That's enough. You're good to go. It's a whole other tangent for me to go on about the hydration breaks of the Men's World Cup. I hate it. I hope that they do not keep it for the women's next year. Fundamentally changes the game of football. Okay, this last one is really interesting. All right. They have instituted a digital code of conduct for fans.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for players.
No. Okay. So what this means in their fan code of conduct, that it says that if you harass players or other fans online, and we can like link that to you, there are repercussions. Like you can get banned from games. You can have revocation of your season tickets.
Crazy.
Like there are penalties for being mean.
That is great.
I think it pairs up really well with what we were just talking about. And Alex talks all the time about how the WNBA should look at the NWSL and say, hey, you seem to be doing things right. Something is working for you over here.
Somebody talk to Kathy.
And I love this. Yeah. I love this because the NWSL, their leadership is literally taking it. It's not putting it on the teams.
Yep.
They're putting it on themselves to say, if this gets reported, we will investigate and we will penalize you.
Yeah.
And you will not be allowed because you are not part of the community we're trying to form.
Yes, exactly.
And that explicitly says that. I read the code of conduct earlier tonight, and it explicitly says, like, we are aiming to build an inclusive community where everybody feels safe.
Yeah.
And if you are failing to do that,
you're out.
We don't want you here.
All right. That's awesome.
Okay.
I love it.
Sorry, I was really excited about that one.
I'm excited about that one too.
All right. You want to take us through a little bit of standings, maybe a top 8.
Yeah, let's do top 8. I mean, we have San Diego still atop the leaderboard here, with 28 points. Portland Thorns at 27, Washington Spirit, not the Mystics, at 24, Utah Royals at 24, Kansas City Current at 24,
Jeez.
North Carolina Courage 21, Gotham FC at 21, and the Orlando Pride at number 8. I think what to call out here, and we talked about this when we were prepping, is the top 7 teams are within 7 points of each other. It is absolutely wild. And then just a little something to call out at number 14, no longer in 16th, Chicago Stars are finding a little bit of a groove.
Yeah. Also, I'm just looking, I'm like, Racing Louisville has 7 points.
The boat is sinking pretty fast.
I think I saw a report that Emma Sears, the U.S. men's national team striker who's on Racing Louisville, has requested a trade.
Oh my gosh. All right. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'd get out too. Yeah, I think you called out kind of the point difference across those top 7. What's interesting to me is you've got the North Carolina Courage are kind of surging in, and they won over the weekend behind an Ashley Sanchez brace, and they were one of the teams that we were like, ooh, I don't know if this break is going to be good for you because you were kind of on an upswing, and now we don't know what this is going to mean. So good to see them starting off on a good foot. What is fascinating is you've got, the Wave at 28, and then you get to the 8th spot, and we're at 17 points for the Pride.
Yep.
So it's kind of a drop off from your top 5 teams with 24 points or more. Then you've got that tie between North Carolina and Gotham at 21, and then Orlando. It's starting to look like this next maybe 2 weeks or so of like 3 to 4 games for each of these teams is really going to make or break some of these ones on the bubble.
On the bubble here.
As far as how the season is going to end. Like, I think this is a really critical moment.
I think 2 things that I noticed. I didn't notice this in our prep, but when we talk about bubble teams, there are 8 through 12 are still all within 3 points of each other, right? Win. That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing to point out is that Washington Spirit are at 24 points in 3rd place. They have 2 less games played than Portland and San Diego.
Yes.
So
they have potential for more
big
points
upswing there. Yeah. Anything else you want to pull out of the standings here before we look at a couple of results over the weekend?
Not right now.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about who's hot. Supposed to do a who's not, but I think that'll come up here a little bit. The big story here: Utah Royals franchise record 10-match unbeaten streak snapped.
Oh man!
By Chicago.
On like a late winner from Jordan Heitema, I saw. Also, if you have not found the clip of Sam Staub's left-footed free kick in that game for the 2nd goal, go watch that. That's dirty.
So they were beaten by a team who has allowed 26 goals in 13 games in the Chicago Stars. And this streak actually went back to March 22nd.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for them. Fortunate for Chicago. Maybe they can. Yeah,
they'll be on a little bit of a run. They got Mel Swanson's, in solidly in the starting lineup. She's captaining the team.
Maybe the break was good for them.
Yeah, they got rid of their GM. Remember, they've made some. They made some changes. They had some transfer window signings.
Yeah.
It could be good.
Yeah, and then like we talked about with the Challenge Cup, Gotham FC got some hardware, and then they went to San Diego. Maybe San Diego came to them. I don't remember which one it was here. They were in San Diego. And they lost.
It was Alex Morgan's birthday.
They lost 2-0. And San Diego stays at the top of the table.
Yeah.
Was it the Barsenius?
Yeah.
That rocket she had, and then she gave the T
salute to Alex for her birthday. Yeah, the Wave looked good. I think the other thing with the Wave, right, is they are no longer have Dujinha.
Yep.
Who is their real kind of primary playmaker, I would say. So we'll see. I also saw that the new keeper they signed started and had the clean sheet.
Yep.
And I think there was, I don't know if it was a rookie record or something. So like impressive performance by her. I think we had talked about how that was maybe a bit of a gap that they were trying to shore up. And so one game in, she's doing all
looking
right.
Great.
So that'll be fun to watch. I think the other one I saw from a results perspective, I mentioned Ashley Sanchez with the brace, who like is quietly in the conversation for Golden Boot. Like we're not talking about her a ton, or I don't see a lot of folks talking about her, but she's there. Was the Portland Thorns hanging for a 4-0 win over Racing Louisville. Sophia Wilson scored another goal. Like they look formidable. Trinity Rodman had 2 goals in the Washington Spirit return to competition.
Had it right that time.
And then I think the other one I saw that was funny was Bay FC played Boston maybe, and I think Bay was up and then they ended up tying.
Oh no.
And Bay just like can't.
They can't catch a break.
they can't get it going. All right. Well, more on that.
Yeah, more to come. All right, let's dig into what to watch to round out here. Grabbed a few games for each league. Saturday noon on ABC, we've got the New York Liberty versus the Minnesota Lynx. We just played them, so a little bit.
Yeah, we just lost to them pretty badly.
And then we've got the Indiana Fever versus Las Vegas
They
Aces.
also just played. The Fever beat the Aces last night.
A couple of rematches. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. on Peacock and NBC.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. Just a quick comment, because they played this past weekend, and you didn't have Caitlin Clark playing. You didn't have Asia Wilson playing. Both out with injury. It will be interesting to see if by Sunday both of them are back or either or both. The Aces looked completely lost without Asia Wilson on the floor. And the Fever looked good without Caitlin Clark on the floor. Like I think they play better.
Yeah, I did see.
There's less hesitancy from the Fever.
I saw some stats that they actually do play statistically a little bit better with her, but they seem to win more without. Like they have better play without her, but
Yeah. It looks different, which I'd expect it to. But it is interesting that in that contrast, because we talked about it leading up to that game, like how is that going to play out? The Aces, who's stepping up? Like your 26 points per game players out. Like who's stepping up?
Asia's not just the best MVP for the league; she's the MVP of her. Like she's only
the MVP.
Yeah, she's the MVP.
And they should have more, right? Chelsea Gray should have done better.
Yeah.
Jackie Young can only do so much. Their bench seems. I don't know about the Aces bench besides Kennedy Carter. Anyway.
All right. NWSL, Kansas City Current at Orlando Pride, Friday, July 10th, 6 p.m. on Prime Video. And then we have San Diego versus Angel City.
The SoCal Derby.
Yeah. Saturday at 7:45 p.m. on Ion.
All right.
Let's see if I can pronounce all of this right. The LPGA is playing the Amundi Avion Championship Thursday through Sunday this week at the Avion Resort Golf Club in Avion-les-Bains in France on the Golf Channel and on NBC.
It's French.
Yeah. And then, of course, Wimbledon. The semifinals are Thursday. All times to be determined on ESPN.
Yeah.
And then the singles is Saturday, July 11th, 10 a.m. Central on ESPN.
Yeah. Very bummed that we did not get to see the Williams sisters back on the court together. But like I said, I don't think they're going away.
Yeah,
I think they'll be back. I mean, Venus never went away. She's just been there the whole time.
Are they just trying to bridge it to the next Williams, the daughters coming up and playing?
Yeah. Yes, Serena's daughters will take on the mantle. Just kidding.
All right.
All right, the yawns are getting aggressive. We gotta
go to bed. Momentum and setbacks. What do you got?
My setback is Olivia Miles tweaked her ankle or something against the Liberty when the Lynx played the Liberty over the weekend, and so she was out of the game today. and like we said, we don't know how that game ended. But the Lynx seem to struggle without her, which I think that's been consistent throughout the season. When she's not on the floor, they do play differently. So pending kind of how that injury is looking, but we should be getting feedback. Dorka played.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a momentum, maybe a little bit.
Let's see.
But my setback is just Miles being injured.
Yeah. My setback, I had some things written down here, but then I remembered mid-show about a setback that has to be paired with momentum.
Ooh.
Momentum first.
Okay.
Our local USLW.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the actual league, or is it a lower level of that? I don't remember exactly.
It's USLW.
They are going to the semifinals. They won their last game.
Go Aurora.
They're I think they're undefeated at this point all season.
Yes, that's probably right.
And
they are often undefeated in conference play. I don't think they've ever lost a conference game.
I don't think they've ever lost a home game, potentially. Yeah. They played on the East Coast, won late last
Pittsburgh,
night. Yeah. That's the momentum. The setback is instead of hosting the semifinal in Minnesota, middle of the country, in about 3 days, they have to travel to the West Coast to play on the West Coast in 3 days.
Against the West Coast team?
Against the West Coast team.
Oh, so why wouldn't they just...
So they have to travel 3 time zones over 3 days.
Oh, brutal.
To attempt to play the semifinal game.
Ugh. It's rigged. I'm
salty.
Those who know will laugh at that.
And then honorable mention, momentum, Marina Mabry. 53 points. Has a song that mentions her. Hustle Overlooked by Sosa Man.
Yes. Listen for her name drop in there.
Momentum to bed.
My momentum is to bed. I had a friend reach out and say she was listening to our pod, and she was like, hey, in that episode 25, when Alex did all the stats, he forgot to do a yawn counter for you guys. I'm thinking that we need to do that now on our YouTube videos, just like a yawn counter by my head. No, my momentum. No, I had one right there. Oh, the Minnesota Vixen. If we're talking about Minnesota sports, women's sports teams, our local professional women's football, American football team, is playing in the conference final.
All right, I
believe this coming weekend.
Awesome.
So that is cool.
Yeah, we gotta check that out.
Yes, we definitely do. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else at this moment in time. I can't wait for Fee to be back.
Yeah, for sure. RTG_pod on Instagram and YouTube, rtgpod.com, Raising the Game podcast on Substack, and Raising the Game podcast at gmail.com. I think I hit them all.
That's all of them. Thanks for being here.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.